Okay, and we are live. I am Richard McCory, and this is my first live stream in a long time, so people will probably start jumping in pretty soon. I am here with my friend Tiffany Kostelyk. She is going to represent, let's say, a more left leaning side to some of the issues that we're going to talk about. And the main issues that we've decided to talk about today are ICE and the detentions that they've been doing and how they've been operating and whether or not that's good, bad, indifferent. We're also going to talk about President Trump's new fixation. Fixation's a good word on Greenland, and whether or not that's good for America, pointless, damaging our alliances. We'll go into all of it. And then, of course, we have to talk about the Epstein list because we just had some new stuff drop that we're definitely going to want to talk about. And then we're going to talk about some more local issues, particularly SB 5312, which we'll get into. And we're also going to talk about the local Stanwood Camano School levy because we're from Camano. So it makes sense. All right. So with that said, this is Tiffany Kostelyk. How you doing, Tiffany?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well also. So we're going to jump right into ICE. And I think you and me often agree on a lot of issues. Sometimes we disagree on how angry we are about some stuff. We also disagree about, is this, something that's, new to Trump, or is it something that's been going on for a long time and we have some selective outrage? So, with that said, I want to give you a chance to jump in and tell me what you think specifically about ICE, the detentions, and what you think should happen.
I think first of all, we need to start out with training. When my hairdresser has to have more training to cut and color my hair than somebody out there on the street with weapons, and that once was a 6-month training and now is a 47-day training process. I think we have a lot of people out there that are really excited to play Call of Duty in real life
Mm-hmm.
and have been improperly trained on things like de-escalation techniques and um, that deadly force should be the very last possible option. And I think that to me, that is absolute insanity. I think my secondary issue is, and I think this is where Trump has actually lost some of his dedicated followers, is that they voted for the worst of the worst. Come and get the criminals, come and get the rapists, come and get the murderers, but don't come to the sweetest little taco house that has been there for 30 years. They're cherished in their community and ravage them. Don't go to immigration court where people are doing it the right way. Don't pull a 5-year-old that is coming home from school and put him in detention with his father. These are not the worst of the worst. And people say, well, they're here illegally. A lot of them followed the rules at the time. Like them as you will. Some say they were too loose under Biden. They were the laws of the time. So the Ramos family, they did. They came here following the laws that were available to them at the time. Yes, they have a pending asylum case, but they did it the way that they thought they were supposed to. So just to recklessly be out here taking people, ripping them out of their cars by their hair, it just feels so overkill for the issue at hand. And I guess what I will say next is the Constitution has to mean something. And due process is a constitutional right for anyone on American soil. Like it, don't like it. And I know that there are emergency things. I know Obama didn't give due process to every single immigrant that he deported. He did follow congressional oversight. He did get emergency override, but it was done in a way that was more in accordance with a process and procedure and accountability. And he did not go after people that had been there for a very long time. He did not go after children. He looked at familial ties. He did not, he focused on the worst of the worst, and he deported more than anyone in modern times. So how can he do that and not have masked men on the street ripping pregnant ladies out of their car by their hair, and still deport more than most of his time?
All right. No, that's all very good. Now we hit a lot, so we're gonna take this pieces at the time. So first off, you said training. Training is needed. I'll agree with you on that. I think more training, the better.
Mhm.
I'm all for more training, and if that's going to be an issue of contention, I don't think there needs to be one. I could definitely get on board with more training, especially with de-escalation tactics and uses of force that aren't deadly, that are more effective
Mhm.
when the deadly force triangle hasn't been met. And for those of you who don't know what the deadly force triangle is, it basically is what allows you to go ahead and use deadly force. That includes opportunity. Does the person in front of you have the opportunity to kill you? Capability. Does this person who has the opportunity to kill you also have the capability to do it? For example, if somebody says he's going to stab you to death and he has no arms, there is no capability of this person to pull up a knife and stab you to death. You do not meet the deadly force triangle just because he said it. And intent. They have to show intent that they are trying to kill you. So you need all three: opportunity, capability, and intent. If you have opportunity, capability, intent, that's when you go and grab the gun and do what you have to do to stay alive. I think we do
Absolutely.
agree that law enforcement does have the right to live and does
Oh,
have
of
the right
course.
to defend themselves in the case of a deadly force situation. So more training on that, I think, would be great. So I think we agree on that. We can move beyond training and say you are right. And so now let's go to the Constitution and due process. And you had mentioned Obama, and a lot of the things that you said were absolutely true. He did deport more people than Trump by a lot. Um, and so I think Obama, anywhere from 3.5 to 5 million, we'll say 3.5 on the low end, were
Hmm.
deported. He did not
Yeah.
give due process to everyone, which you said. He did have some congressional oversight. Um, but the basically what he had was the Congress approved of the methods he was using to remove citizens or
Hmm.
non-citizens. Um, the only thing that I would say is Congress doesn't need to reapprove. They approved that under Obama, and then Trump became president with the same instruction. So he was using the same instruction. Now, did Obama do better than Trump when it comes to treating people well? I don't think he did. And the reason I don't think he did was because you remember the cages in the first Trump administration when he got hammered for all those cages?
I do. I do.
They
I've heard all about the cages.
they were built under Obama and Trump or in Biden. They were used, and they had to be because he was deporting significantly more people. Um, Many of those people didn't get due process. And if we go even further back to Bill Clinton, he's the one that worked with the Republican Congress to prevent anyone who was caught in the United States for 2 to 3 weeks. If we catch them within 2 to 3 weeks of getting here, they will never see the inside of a courtroom. They just go.
Yeah. No,
Um,
fair.
and and we have to do it that way because if we gave due process to 3.5 million people, the costs would basically our courts would be completely cluttered.
No,
There,
and
there,
I do
there'd be,
understand that. I understand. I mean, we cannot put everybody through due process. I understand that. But my problem lies when we are pulling people out of the big thing is, well, if they just would come here right, if they only would come here in the right way, if they weren't illegal, they're trying. Our immigration courts are backed up for years.
Mhm.
They have, I mean, if we're going to immigration court to deport people, then we just don't want them here.
Well, and you know that sounds mean, but we are a country, and the question is, are we going to enforce our sovereignty or not? There are many people who want to be here from Sudan. There are many people who want to be here from sub-Saharan Africa, and it's extremely dangerous over there. And I feel for them, and I want to help them, but we cannot take the entire population of Africa here. We just
No, and
can't
I
do
do
it.
understand that. What gets lost on me is when we are literally deporting all of these people in immigration court, people that have been here for decades, who are trying to contribute to society. And then, I don't know, what was it, a few months into Trump's presidency, he takes all these white South Africans and marches them off the plane right on into our country. When
Yeah,
Nicki
no, that was a
Minaj,
couple hundred farmers whose farms were taken and they were targeted for
but that
execution.
it was not. There was not execution. They were literally, that was the story. That was the big thing. When you really dove down into it, and let's just say hypothetically that was true.
Mhm.
We can't take everyone, but we can take the white South African farmers. Then why can't we take other people that are here on asylum with do not deport orders?
We 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 do take a lot of people in
Yeah,
this,
but that's who they're
and
deporting.
some, and you're right. Some of it's not fair. Some of it's just straight up not fair.
I mean, if
And
you're going to deport people with do not deport orders because they came in on an asylum seeking basis and were allowed to be here and are following the process of going to immigration court, meeting up with people, and then you say, well, no, they can't be here anymore, we're going to deport you. Meanwhile, we have these white South Africans that are going to be executed, and so we bring them on in. Tell me where that all lines up. It just doesn't.
yeah, no, I mean, there are some countries that have been given preferential treatment before. I wasn't in there, so I don't know what the methodology was for who we bring in and who we don't. I know we have brought in a lot of asylum seekers, particularly from places like Cuba. We've brought in a good chunk of their population to get them away from the Castro regime.
Mhm.
And for the people that come in the right way, obviously we want to make sure that we're treating them fairly. And some of the people that came in the wrong way, I mean, we can't deport them all. It would require us to use the entire United States Army to deport them all. And we'd have to just get rid of everyone's rights temporarily to find them all and get them out.
Well, fair,
Um,
but it feels like we're teetering on that ledge. It feels like we're teetering on that line with the threat to deport, to employ United States military to the streets of California to fight against its own people by deploying National Guard out there when the local law enforcement says, oh, we've got it covered. It feels like we're really teetering on the line of, I mean, I have friends that literally are like of Italian descent, that have a little darker complexion, that are carrying their passport with them every day, who have children that have a little bit darker skin, that are putting birth certificates in their backpacks. That's a problem. That's
I
not the
agree.
United States of America.
Yeah, no, we don't want to. Now, some of it may be justified. Some of it is a little bit of fear mongering that may not be justified. That's scaring people, but you're right. That's not something we want. We don't want people to be afraid to be on the street in the United States. We don't want people to feel like they have to bring their passports, because we never want to be a nation where we're asking, "Can I see your papers, please?" Um, to everyone who walks by, because that's scary, and that's a road we don't want to cross.
No,
Um,
and yet, if you talk, I mean, there's police officers in New York who are off duty, that are walking the streets, that are getting apprehended by ICE, asking for their papers because they're a person of color. They don't have them because they're an American citizen, and then end up having to show their badge and say, hey, I'm a police officer here. And they just kind of shut up and walk away. And countless officers have come forward with that same story. So that's a problem. We cannot be we have to have some sort of order for who are we going after? Who are we looking for? What is the criteria that we're looking for? It cannot be brown. That cannot be the case. It has to be, we're looking for murderers. We're looking for rapists. We're looking for the worst of the worst, cartel members. And yet there's seemingly no parameter. There's no guideline. It's just, who can you
so
get?
to be fair, though, we have gotten many of the worst deported. Um,
I learned a
and
fun fact a couple days ago, though, because I really try to, I love independent journalists, but depending on who you follow, they do have a leaning, right? They all do.
for sure.
So, I like Aaron Parnas a lot, but he's very left leaning. I know that completely. So, to me, he's a jumping off point, right? I listen to something from him and I go, oh, that sounds crappy. Let me go see what's really happening.
Mhm.
And I stumbled upon Marcy Wheeler, who apparently is known for extremely high factuality. Every single thing she cites, there is a source to back it up. So I went and did a little reading on her site. And in Minneapolis, it is proven that they have at least 68 cases where, when you look on the DOJ's worst of the worst wall that they have started as a rah sisterhood, look how much we're doing, 68 of those people were already in prison awaiting deportation orders. They were handed over to ICE, but that's what they were waiting to do anyways. So again, yeah, they've deported some of the worst, and bravo. But they're making a lot of false claims and they're hurting a lot of innocent people. So there has to be ground rules. I just feel like there has to be.
And I agree that there does need to be some ground rules. Now, one of the cases that you brought up and one that got national attention was the 5-year-old boy that we all saw
Liam
pictures
Ramos,
of. And
who was released today with his father.
And that one was a more complicated situation because they were going after the father. And the father ran from ICE.
Of course, because you hear what happens in those detention centers.
And he left his kid.
Standing in his driveway. Standing in his driveway.
Right. And so ICE obviously wanted to make sure that he was okay.
No,
because if they left a 5-year-old by himself, it would have looked worse. It would have looked way worse.
If my 5-year-old was standing in my driveway while I was running from people that were trying to detain me with no good reason and take me to somewhere where I may never see my family again, I would much rather my 5-year-old be standing in my driveway than with anyone else. His mom was inside. She had eyes on him. No.
And so it's interesting you bring up the mother because they asked the mother to watch him. And
they asked her to come out, and the dad said no. Dad told her to stay inside because their middle school son had not yet come home. So she didn't want the middle school son to come home to nobody. So the dad said, stay inside. Do not come out. You will get taken too.
So that's not the story I heard.
I know, it's probably not, but I've dug deep into this because this 5-year-old kid haunts my nightmares.
Yeah, but ultimately the 5-year-old kid, they were not able to give it to the mother. And so they brought him with the father to keep them together.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to grab somebody, I think that they did the best they could have in that situation.
No, if you talk to Liam Ramos, who spent the last week vomiting and unable to eat and despondent and sleeping because he misses his mom so much, I don't know if he agreed with you.
Well, his mother refused to take him.
She wouldn't come out because she didn't want to get deported because her son wasn't home from school yet. And there was numerous people around that said, we will take him. Please don't take him. Responsible adults who knew him. And if ICE is this where they're going to be following the rules? This is where they're like, oh, we draw the line on leaving this kid with someone who will love him, but isn't an actual legal guardian. But we're going to just go recklessly outside the law over here. You can't pick and choose.
So, no, I agree. We have to follow the law in everything that we do. I do think that I don't believe that the law enforcement was intentionally trying to mess with that poor kid. And we all agree that that's extremely unfortunate, but often families are separated and torn up when we have to arrest people. There are criminals out there who are actually good parents.
Fair. And I get it. Take them, but leave the kid with someone who will love them, someone who will be in charge of them. This kid has been, I can't even fathom sitting with my 5-year-old eating food that is, everybody has heard it is not a secret. The food is subpar, low grade. There are rocks found in the food. There are maggots found in the food. This kid is there eating. Can you imagine with your 5-year-old being there and trying to feed them this food and watching them vomit and then just beg for their mom? I just can't. And they've been let out. So obviously there was no reason to hold either one of them. Yeah, their immigration case is continuing and there's a long road ahead, but there was no reason to grab either one of them because they've been let out a week later.
Yep. So obviously they did once after they grabbed him, I think some of it was political pressure. I think
all of it is political pressure, Richard. Yeah. All of it is. They have quotas. I
They do
mean,
have
Stephen
quotas.
Miller has even said they have quotas. We cannot have quotas. That
Um,
puts, I mean, it's like when the police officer hides at a super secret spot towards the end of the month because they got a certain amount of tickets to give out. We get
yep.
irritated. Like, oh, we don't want to be part of your quota. But now we have people that are quotas. And that can't be.
True. But we also, I mean, we do need immigration customs enforcement. That's
Oh,
something we
of
do need.
course. And that
So,
we all agree on.
and we need to, well, apparently not all of us, because a lot of Democrats are talking about completely defunding it in its entirety.
And I don't think we should abolish ICE. What I do think that some of them are talking about is in its current state, it is so broken that we should start from the ground up. So I don't know if that is possible in this time. So I don't necessarily feel like abolishing ICE is something that should be on the table. I get tensions are high, people are mad, people are hurt, and they just say, you know what, wipe it all out. We need ICE. I'm not saying that we don't. I don't feel like that is a problem. I have known ICE has existed for a gazillion years. I've never ever worried about them. I've never thought, I have friends of color. I have, whatever. I've never really given it much thought because they're here to get criminals. They're here to get people. I mean, living in the United States illegally, quote unquote, is the criminal equivalent to a traffic ticket. Are we really investing all of our money to sweet little whoever that's got her family taco shop in the middle of the freaking little small town? I mean, there was a town, and I forget where it was recently, but they voted for Trump. And they had this sweet little server that they went and saw every week at their local restaurant who was Hispanic, who got taken away. And they were like, what? They were mad. They were like, what did she ever do? She did nothing. She just served us every week. And that's not what we voted for. That's not who we thought they'd take. So I just feel like we have to have guardrails. We cannot have Stephen Miller out here who loves the idea of an all-white nation being the one who's like, you got to get this quota and take all these people. And I think Tom Homan, I know he served in multiple administrations. And so maybe he has the ability to be a decent person, but even he has said, if you look or sound a certain way, we have the right to pull you over or detain you or talk to you. That is profiling. That has been against anything that we've been allowed to do for years.
And that's fair. And that very poorly stated, but I will tell you this, every police officer in the nation profiles in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't. That I'm not saying.
And it makes sense, right? If you're looking for a tall 6'5" male, I'm not pulling any ladies over.
Of course. And I'm not saying that no one is guilty of profiling. I am not. I am just saying, are we really saying this out loud? Now we're just saying the quiet part out loud and just giving everybody like carte blanche to do it as they please.
Yeah. So let's see here. Well, I think we've covered most of that. My biggest question for you, though, is what is the main difference you've seen between ICE under Donald Trump and ICE under Obama?
ICE under Obama doesn't have me putting a birth certificate in my daughter's backpack.
Okay. And they did catch significantly more people. More people died in detention centers under Obama than under Trump.
Well, that was 8 years. If we look at the amount that have died currently, just in this 1 year period, it is more than it has been in decades. So yes, more people died over an 8 year period. But with this current ICE detention center, if you just look at this period, it is more that have died in detention center custody in decades. So he's on track to knock Obama out of the water.
Yep.
I'm not saying
if that happens, then that argument dies immediately. But I will say, I think if you add Trump's first 4 years, so 5 years against the 8, Obama wins. So in 3 years, we'll see, I guess. But yeah.
Trump's first term was Trump light. He was just kind of testing some waters, right? He didn't really I mean, I didn't love it. It didn't make me happy. I didn't enjoy what he was doing, but he sort of tried to stay within the congressional. He pushed the boundaries. He made some of us irritated, but at the end of the day, I can't think of anything he did that was wildly like just had me afraid, like something I didn't know that we could come back from. This presidency, I feel like we have Trump 2.0, and he views no laws, no congressional oversight applies to him. And that's what makes me scared. Obama wasn't perfect. I will 1,000%. He pushed the boundaries. I have looked into it, and there's 1,000 things he did wrong. I'm not saying I mean, I would literally cut off an arm to have Obama back in presidency, but he was not perfect. None of them are. They're politicians. They're corrupt. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying my side is any less corrupt than your side. I'm just saying that Trump and Stephen Miller, and I don't even feel like we should even mention Kristi Noem because she is so underqualified for this job. If you're going to come out 38 seconds after a guy's murdered on the street by ICE and say he was wielding a gun at ICE officers when he never, ever drew his weapon, you are an irresponsible human that should never be in front of a camera.
So we'll agree on that. I think way too many politicians got out and started speaking before they knew anything.
Exactly.
And
if
I
you
think
listen to Greg Bovino and Kristi Noem speak and you put their videos side by side, it's identical.
Yeah, no, they came out with a statement that they wanted to make, and they put it out, and they put it out way too early. The only thing that you should say as a politician when you don't know is, we don't know what happened. We are going to have this case investigated. We're going to take a good look at it. And then if you want to say something like, now, I believe in our law enforcement officials. I believe that they would have acted in a way that, is appropriate. But we're going to take a look. The FBI is going to investigate. We'll get back to you. Yes. That's what you need to say.
I would have been so fine with that, as would millions of Americans.
But no, they came out with one statement. And then on the other side, you've got other people coming out and saying, oh, this was a targeted murder. It's like, everybody, none of you know what happened.
It wasn't exactly. And what we can plainly see is it wasn't targeted murder, but he wasn't wielding a gun. So both sides need to close their role, for sure.
Yeah. But I think happened after all these days of being able to roll the camera is he was helping a lady that ICE pushed over. And then you see that he put his hand on an ICE agent. I don't think it was an incredibly aggressive way, but he put his hand on an ICE agent. ICE agent thought, oh, okay, this guy wants some too. So they started wrestling. Mm-hmm. So far, nobody's broken the law yet. So, and then they get into a wrestle. Then he starts passively resisting and screaming and being belligerent. Mm-hmm. And so a couple of ICE agents get involved with it. And then one of the ICE agents yells gun because he did find a gun in his back pocket.
He pulled it out and removed it.
And he yelled gun, which he's supposed to do. Like, hey, just so you all know, there is a gun. But unfortunately, somebody thought, oh my God, he has a gun and he's going to kill us. And he opened fire. One person opened fire. The other ICE agent says, oh, we're shooting. Oh my God. And then he starts shooting. And we ended up losing a person's life.
And that's, I guess, where the de-escalation training needs to come in. Because when you talk about this whole little triangle here, they didn't meet a few of a couple of the points. And even if they did, one shot killed him. We did not need to empty an entire clip after that. That is, I got my headset on in my mom's basement and I'm playing Call of Duty, and watch me go.
Yeah. So, I mean, now 2 people were shooting. I think he was shot a total of 6 times, and I think there was 3 bullets each. So I don't think they unloaded their magazine.
No, they unloaded a 10-clip magazine into him.
Really? I heard 6. We'll have to look at it again. You might be right. I am not an expert on how many they shot, but the original statement I heard was 6 bullets total. Or maybe he was hit 6 times, and they fired more.
And then, and then at the same time, same with Renee Good and same with Alex Preddy. Renee Good had a pulse for 8 minutes after she was shot. Why is no medical aid allowed through?
So they did call for the medical
There was
staff
a
to come
doctor
in.
screaming, "Can I go? I'm a doctor. Can I go at least try?"
So that is something that I want to bring up. So that person was part of the protests, and who is he? Where's his medical license?
It doesn't even matter if he's Mickey Mouse at that point. Can
Yeah,
he not go and try?
he wasn't a doctor.
How
He
do you
made
know?
it up. Well, because he was holding a phone and he was getting ready to record. And what they were concerned about was, okay, no, we are not going to let you record this dying woman so that you can put it on the internet.
No, okay, so take his phone. Say, hey, give us your phone. You can go through.
You know, that's something they might have been able to do, but I don't think it was a doctor. And if he
I
was
see
a
you
doctor,
said-
he would have come out and said, yeah, I am a doctor. Here's my qualifications. And they wouldn't let me through. He hasn't done that. I don't think it was a real doctor.
The ICE agent said, and I quote, and I'm really trying to keep my mouth clean on this. He said, "I don't give a fuck who you are." And
No,
you can hear it in the video.
I believe, yes, that did happen.
And that's, come on. There
I
was
don't
no
think I don't think he believed him. I don't think I would have believed him either. And it would have been malpractice for them to let somebody go in, mess with evidence of the scene, and maybe screw up.
They didn't even try to preserve the scene. They all ran. Members of Minneapolis were trying to preserve the scene, kicking the clothes to the side. Same thing with Alex Preddy. The ICE agents booked. That scene was not secured. They booked. They were like, oh, let's back out here. So they weren't trying to preserve the scene.
So
they don't care about that.
Medical personnel eventually did show up that were credentialed, and they tried, and
they drug her out. They threw her over their shoulder and like a sack of potatoes and walked her through the crowd to the ambulance.
I think they confirmed she was already dead when that happened.
Is it typical procedure though to throw her over your shoulder, or do you usually get a stretcher and cover her up?
I've usually seen stretchers and covering people up, but if I pretended to be an expert on what their procedures are, I would be lying to you. So, but I agree with you. I would have preferred that they cover her up and show some dignity to the corpse. But and I also agree with you that both are a tragedy. Both of them are a tragedy. And these tragedies do happen.
Is that when we allow, I just looked it up. It was 10 shots. When they allow these people to run without guidelines, our officers have to wear body cams. They are held accountable. They have to justify a kill. They have to go and justify they put on administrative leave. They have to justify why they did it. Why are these federal agents not held to the same account? I think that's all we want.
I think the officers involved in both shootings were put on administrative leave.
It took a hot minute, but they are after Renee Good. They started investigating her wife and not the guy who shot her.
That's what they said to the public, but there was an investigation into it as well. Now, from a legal standpoint, from what I've seen, I mean, I'm not an expert. I do have a degree in criminal justice, which means I am a layman. So,
fair.
The Renee Good situation, that officer's got a slightly better argument than the guys with Preddy, and the only reason is because the officer
was turned to the right, trying to go the other way.
But in that moment, did he know? What he could have said, what I saw was the car coming at me, and I fired.
Law enforcement 101. Do not walk in front of a car. Why was he there?
To stop the vehicle from leaving.
But that's law enforcement 101. You don't do that. Sorry, my dog.
Actually, they do boxing cars all the time.
With cars, sure.
Numerous times. And I've seen videos. There are other videos out there of law enforcement. Like somebody pulls in, there's a wall to the front, and they stand behind the car and tell them to get out and not to move. And if the person starts moving, they shoot. And is that a good policy? Probably not. But the reason that I think
a lot less accountability than what a lot of us would like to see. If we upped the accountability, took off masks, made badges and identification, and put body cams, I think a lot of us would be a lot happier.
Okay.
And they
that's
got
something that we definitely could
47 days
discuss.
training.
And I agree with you on the training. So,
Okay.
all right. So
Look at that.
yeah, no, we got through it. We got through it. Nobody got insulted. Nobody got attacked. See, hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you do it.
Can do it. We don't have to call each other names. We don't have to tell each other
You
we're
can try
idiots.
and get to the truth and figure something out together as a team. Because we all want the same thing. We want less people shot, and we want the law enforced. So moving on to our next issue, dealing with we spent a lot of time on that one, but that's okay because it was an important one and it's an intense one. This one's a little bit less of a yell at you sort of thing, and it's a little bit more silly. But we're going to go into the acquisition or desire to acquire Greenland. The United States under President Trump is a little bit more of an expansionist nation, which isn't the first time in our country we've been expansionist.
No.
But there are strategic reasons that Trump has pointed out of why it makes sense for us to have Greenland.
Or Iceland, or whatever he remembers it being called the day that he's
yes, he did. He did misspeak. Now, nobody on the Biden camp gets to talk about misspeaking for at least another 100 misspeaks.
No, fair. Okay, but hold on. If this was Biden, this would be front page Fox News for 7 hours.
Yes, it would have.
So
it would have. But
anyway,
people misspeak, and that happens. But yeah, no, it was Greenland, and the strategic reasons that he have given are valid. We have concerns about Russia becoming more aggressive, which they have proven they are. They've invaded Ukraine. They've violated Poland's airspace. They've violated Finland's airspace. They're getting dangerously close to violating ours off the coast of Alaska.
Nobody disagrees that Russia is an absolute somebody that we should not be rolling out the red carpet for when they come to visit.
Okay. Yeah. No, and I agree. Although I do understand our desire to try and find a peaceful solution. Because Russia, unfortunately, like China, is one of those big countries that can help end the world that we have to deal with. And then China, of course, is expanding their influence in the region. And Greenland is very strategically positioned to, honestly, we could put an air base on there and we can successfully bomb both countries.
Yeah, which they will allow us to do without selling.
So the issue is also, another thing is they have a ton of natural resources and rare earths inside of Greenland. Which they are working with
us to mine.
Yeah, which they cannot mine without us. They can't do it without us. No other country in the world other than Russia and China could do it. And they also can't defend themselves without us. Because we are, Denmark, if Russia decided to take Greenland tomorrow and America said, Denmark, you got it, go. Greenland's gone.
But that's not NATO. That's not Article 5. You attack one, you attack all. We would jump to their defense in a second.
Correct. But again, it needs us.
Yes.
And so that's why, now I'm not saying that I'm supporting the acquisition of Greenland. I'm just trying to give the side of why it makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so for that reason, Trump says it makes more sense for us to have it. And he points to World War II, where he is correct. We were given Greenland, basically. Denmark gave it to us after they surrendered to the Nazis. That war took 6 hours. Took 6 hours for Denmark to surrender. And so the United States said, yes, we are now going to take over patrols and security of Greenland. And we told Germany, if you go into Greenland, we are at war. And so Germany never went into Greenland. They didn't go. And then we gave it back at the end of World War II, which Trump says is a mistake. I'm going to be honest with you. I agree. I'd have kept it too. And so,
but what's done is done.
Yeah.
Call it a mistake. Call it whatever you want. They are now
now back with Denmark, and they are their own country as well. It's an interesting situation. So Trump wants to acquire it. NATO doesn't want him to acquire it. Denmark has said it's not for sale. The people of Greenland, I think, have pretty much said they're not interested. at least a majority of them. There are
Yeah.
onesie twosies
No.
here and there who do not want us to take it. And Trump has said that he very much wants it. He's willing to buy it. He's even tried bribing every single citizen in Greenland to get it.
Yes, which, can we just pause? We can't feed our children, and we're going to bribe the members, the people in Greenland to let us have them. What happened to America first?
So some people might say expanding America is America first.
Fair. But I mean, why aren't we giving American people all of this? I mean, people were promised Doge checks. They were promised tariff checks. They were promised $10,000 bonuses if they stayed on with the air traffic control during the shutdown. None of that's happened. So why do we have money to bribe the members of Greenland to let us take them when we haven't been able to follow through on any money?
That is a good question that has bothered me way before Trump was president. We always seem to have money to bomb the crap out of people. We always seem to have money to aid other countries, but we don't seem to have enough money to take care of our veterans.
No, and the thing is that was the thing. That was America first. That was why Trump's not going to get us into these wars. He's not going to spend all this money on other countries. He's going to be the president of peace. He's going to be all these things. And now we're going to bomb them, and we're going to bomb them, and we're going to take them, and we're going to bribe them. And it just feels like the plot is lost and no one's calling him out.
Yeah. Well, actually, he has been called out numerous times on this issue.
Even on the right. Nobody's holding him accountable.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Yeah. No. But now here's the counter to that. Denmark doesn't want to become America or a part of America. I'm sorry, Greenland. See, now I did it. Now I've got dementia.
Well, you know what? We all knew it.
So Denmark does not want to sell. Greenland does not want to join. And then Trump said something, which he should not have said, I think. Well, we'll get it one way or another. And they took that to mean he's going to invade. I will tell you right now, from the people that I've spoke to, there was never any intention or designs drawn up to invade Greenland.
He said he would not say no to putting troops on the ground to take Greenland.
Yes, that's what he said. That was silly. It does sound, that's exactly what it sounds like. And I would have inferred the same thing.
Okay. But and this has made me question every life choice of mine. But when I find myself on the same side of an issue as Mitch McConnell, I feel like we have gone down the wrong road. Mitch McConnell, Tom Tillis, the lady from I mean, there's like 10 Republican senators that are like absolutely
Lisa Murkowski.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Tillis stood on the floor and said, "Who is advising the president that this is a good idea?"
Well, it's Hegseth, unfortunately. And I will agree with you that Hegseth is not the best Secretary of Defense that we could have picked.
Oh, you mean the Secretary of War?
Right. You are correct. It is now Secretary of War. It's going to go back to defense anyway, as soon as Trump's not president.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But yes, that secretary. And
I feel like Stephen Miller is as well. I think Stephen Miller's in the conversation.
Which the people that should, and I will agree with you on this, the people that should be in the conversation with President Trump about military matters are the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the people who have earned 4 stars, who've been there for 30 plus years, and basically understand the geopolitical situation of everywhere.
Except fired most of those.
Yeah, some of them. And so the problem that we almost ran into was NATO was getting ready to be canceled, because if the United States took Denmark, I don't think there would have been a war about it. I think they were posturing. I don't think Article 5 would have been called. But
I don't think Article 5 would have been called, but I mean, maybe in extreme circumstances, but an attack on one is an attack on all. That absolves NATO. If we go in and we break that, then the people that say they want to do this to keep Putin and keep Xi Jinping in check are just going to give them more power if NATO absolves.
And that's correct. NATO absolving would not be good for anyone, particularly our European allies.
I feel like Putin is just sitting there like, with his popcorn, waiting for it to happen so he can just obliterate whoever he wants.
Yeah, America is really the one check that keeps Putin out of Western Europe. And we are the one check. Our weapons are the reason that Ukraine is still free. Most of
Absolutely.
it.
Without question.
And without that, Putin could easily roll over. He wouldn't meet an army that could stop him until he got halfway through Germany.
Of course.
And
so that's
and
why
then
I
it'd be
think
a fight.
That Greenland has said, put as many bases here as you want, and work together with us. You can work together to mine our minerals. We're not trying to keep you out of any of that stuff. But Trump's kind of straw man argument, in my opinion, is, well, you don't fight as hard for something that you don't own. And that just feels ridiculous to me.
I think his argument, he's not very good at articulating, but I try to think what he means. And I think what he meant was, look, if we are in charge of the defense of Greenland, which basically we are because Denmark can't do it. If we are in charge of all of this and we're spending all the money, give it to us. I mean, this is silly.
It's a lot of NATO isn't able to contribute as much as we contribute. We just have more. So, but what they don't contribute in funds, they contribute in intel and allowing us to use their bases and a lot of other things that we would have. We get all excited that we have the biggest, bestest, baddest military known to man. We are that way because of our allies, because we have people that share their intel with us, that allow us to utilize their bases, that allow us to utilize their resources. Standing by ourselves, we don't have any of that.
Well, we don't have as much power projection around the world. That's correct, because it would take longer to get places and
exactly. So,
but they get something out of it too. They get something out of us being there.
Well, but we get it. We get what we're not. Again, not all compensation is monetary. That's how Trump sees it. He sees all compensation as monetary money. Everything's a real estate deal to him. Everything is a business deal. I give you this, you pay me for that. I mean, the guy has increased his net worth by billions since being in office. No other president has done that. Jimmy Carter sold his peanut farm so that he wouldn't be, so everything is about that bottom line with Trump. And he always feels like he needs some sort of continual recognition. And I feel like by them providing intel and bases and things like that, that's not the recognition that he feels like he wants. He wants some sort of monetary or some sort of thank you. I mean,
I think he would love to be the president that acquired significantly more land for the United States.
Yes, he would.
Because and
leave us.
A lot of people
allyless.
A lot of people don't like that about him. I'd say in some ways, one of his good qualities is his desire to do something so amazing for America that he'll be remembered forever.
In the meantime, everyday Americans are suffering. Their healthcare premiums just tripled. Their groceries are, I know it's a really fun old-timey word for Trump, but really people's groceries are through the roof. Americans are suffering. Mm-hmm. And so how about be known as the president that truly made America great? Because everyone can eat and everyone can have health care and everyone has a roof over their head. Invest that money here. I thought that was the plot. I thought that was the point. The people were sick of all of our presidents spending all of our money elsewhere. And yet
I'll tell you, a lot of the plot, and gosh, I'm going to say something and I don't mean it in a freaking Candace Owens way. Okay. I'm very supportive of Israel. I'm very supportive of
okay.
Okay. And you know that I defended them after October 7th, even when it wasn't popular. But a lot of what happens is America is pushed by our allies and from APAC and from very significant powers to be a power projection country. Because if we don't project our power, other people will. And those people are not going to be as nice to Europe or Israel or other countries as we will. Um, and because of that, we end up not focusing on what we said we were going to focus on here at home. We end up focusing on the world. And Trump has been pushed by groups. One of the big ones is AIPAC, which is the pro-Israeli lobby. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm not anti-AIPAC here. I'm just saying he has been pushed by groups to focus more outwardly instead of inwardly, as every president does.
Of course.
President Bush and President Obama both had these great things they wanted to do for the American people. And President Bush got pushed into 2 wars, one of which was absolutely justified. Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda had to die.
Yeah, of course.
But he ended up having to go to 2 wars he didn't want to go into. Obama ended up having to bomb 9 different countries. And it just keeps happening. Every time we put in a president with these ideas of how I want to do these things for the American people, some entities make it not that way.
I will say Obama did create affordable health care for everybody in the United States. And
Trump's done some good things too. Right now, our violent crime is down to the lowest levels since 1900.
I would love to see some.
I'll pull that up. But yeah, no, I mean, and also,
like I have seen like Chicago, where he's like, oh, I did this, and they were on a downward trend anyways.
Yeah. So, and, is it all Trump? Probably not. No. But that's a good thing. Violent crime.
I'm not saying that lack of crime isn't a good thing. I'm saying I think we were already headed that direction. He just wants to put his name on it.
Oh. And what else? So, additionally, our military right now is proven, based off the investments that he has made and some that Biden made, is now even more of a monster than it was 10 years ago. We proved that when we went into Venezuela and we were able to get Maduro, and we didn't lose a single person, and none of the best Chinese and Russian anti-aircraft weapons even worked. Not only did they not effectively hit our targets, they didn't work. That's what we can do. We can turn your stuff off. So that's, I bet you China and Russia are back at the drawing board right now. And I think part of the reason that China hasn't invaded Taiwan yet is because they're back to the drawing board because they realize just how outmatched they still are.
They kind of are.
Uh-oh. I think we're losing the signal.
But I feel like, again, when we talk about Greenland and NATO, without that, no, they'd march right on in. They'd take Taiwan. I mean, so that's why I feel like this Greenland is a pivotal issue, because they'll let us put bases there. They'll let us access their minerals. He just wants to own it. Yeah, okay, cool, great. You're that's great. You acquired a piece of land, outstanding. That's not what anybody wants. Nobody wants that.
I'd be for it if they were for it, but they're not for it.
They're not for it. And they've rejected. I mean, yes, people have been trying to acquire it. Trump's not the first one to try to buy it.
No, I mean, this has gone back. He's not even the 10th.
No, he's not even the 10th. But they've said no every time. So now you just need to accept their no and then learn to work with them within the confines like every other administration has. And when they're allowing us to utilize what we want to utilize, I don't see why it should be so pushed. I mean, by trying to make Canada the 51st state, I mean, you've just pissed them off, and I know you say they'll go bankrupt without us. Carney's not dumb. And he's forging ahead with China and Dubai and
China can't save him.
Fair enough. We'll see how it plays out. And I'd have to dig into that more. I haven't really looked as far into that as I'd like to. But my point is that we're just making everybody. I mean, do you see the hot mics where these world leaders at these conferences are just making so much fun of Trump and talking about how, oh, you didn't thank me for that, or like they're just he's whatever. There's some I'm sure that love him. I mean, Putin does, but he's a joke. He's a laughing stock. He was at Davos and he told them if they didn't, they should thank him that they're not all speaking German. That is the primary language. That is the primary language that they all speak.
Well, I think he was referring to the French, the British, and everybody west of Germany, and Poland, parts of Poland. But you're right. The Germans were all like, "We are speaking German. Thanks for the help."
The Swiss were there. So the Swiss people there were like, "Yes, we've all spoke German. We're in Switzerland right now."
But I think in that, sometimes he makes good points, and then he ruins it with something silly. In that discussion, what he should have said, which would I think have been more powerful, we were here for you during World War II. We lost a lot of lives to help bring down the Nazi regime, and then we stayed to prevent you all from speaking Russian. Prevent you all from speaking Russian would have been a more powerful statement, because.
And at the end of the day, why are we? Thank you.
Oh, say that one more time. You broke up.
Why are we feeling like we all need that we now suddenly need this grandiose thank you from trying to work together with many nations to end the Nazi regime? Like, why now do we feel like we need to have, why does Trump feel like he needs all these thank yous?
I will say Europe has sometimes taken for granted the United States.
You know what? I'm taking for granted too sometimes, and I don't need everybody to freaking worship at my feet.
No, and neither do I. It would be nice if maybe they were a little bit more appreciative of the people that are very, very much keeping them safe.
Fair. But at the end of the day, I never heard Obama. I never heard Bush. I never heard Biden. I never heard Bush Sr. stand in front of a mic and say, you guys should really be a little more thankful to us.
No. And I'll tell you, Bush Jr. was not more articulate than Trump.
He was not. Saturday Night Live had a blast with Bush Jr.
Yeah.
Bush Sr. too.
But when you think about Obama, when you think about Reagan, they were very gifted speakers.
Oh my gosh.
And they were able to get people to like them on a personal level, regardless of what was going on around the world.
Well, and that's the thing is that, I mean, if we want to talk about Reagan, I know that I would wildly disagree with his policies, but you know what? Sometimes I just go back and watch speeches so I can remember what it's like to have a president that talks like that.
Yeah. And Trump is not extremely charming or charismatic. He's also not a gifted speaker. He is funny sometimes. I especially love his eulogies for dead terrorists.
I actually, when he's the funniest to me is when he's asleep at the cabinet meetings. That is hilarious. That is slapstick right there.
But
I don't want to ever hear another Sleepy Joe comment as long as this presidency continues.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite speeches of all time, though, is Trump explaining how we got Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Basically, he was the leader of ISIS. And basically, he announces that he's dead. And he just crap talks him the whole time. It was hilarious. He cried like a little baby. I wouldn't have cried. I was like, Abu, don't cry.
That's not what presidents are supposed to do. Watch the speech with Obama when they get the leader of Al Qaeda.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good speech, but it was not funny.
What I want in a president, because nobody thought that was. It might have been funny, but he's not on Saturday Night Live talking about it.
I agree. Although, I disliked Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi so much that I'm glad that the speech that he'll be remembered for is hilarious. So,
what about the speech that? Just a little side rabbit trail. What about the speech that Rob Reiner will be remembered as? He gave that little speech about when Rob Reiner died, and he said that basically.
I spoke against that. I was very open about.
I do remember you did. I do remember you did that because that is truly something that has lost a lot of the plot for me, is that you guys all, and rightfully so, I didn't feel like it was okay to celebrate this. That was horrific, and nobody should die like that for their politics.
Yeah.
We also need to follow the same rules across the board.
I agree. And I'd like to see an end to any celebrations of any American dying.
Yeah.
Unless it's a serial killer who got the death penalty after being found guilty. That's the exception. But there should not be any celebrations of Americans dying. But anyway, I think we've covered Greenland. I think you and me are pretty much in agreement. We don't need it, but we do need the military bases there because it is a very strategic position, and it would
Absolutely.
allow us to stop China in its tracks if they invaded Taiwan.
Absolutely.
Very quickly.
So put bases there, and let the happy people happiest life.
They can't be that happy. They're freezing over there.
The Denmark country has the highest of their people of anyone in the globe.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
I promise. I looked it up.
All right. So now we're moving on to something more gross. The Epstein files. So I know you've got a lot of opinions on this. I've got a lot of opinions on this. I think we both agree right now from the get-go, release them all.
Yeah.
Release them all.
Everyone.
I don't care how high it goes. I don't care whose life gets upended.
Nope.
Let's release them all and let's punish the guilty. Okay, so I think we're probably going to have a lot of agreement on it. But real quick, I want you to talk about it, what you think about it. And from what we've seen, it looks like very powerful men have been caught.
Yes.
And some that are just, it's completely obvious that they're guilty of something.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, the prince, what's his name? Prince Andrew?
Andrew. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some guy in Slovenia or whatever, he just stepped down because he was in there. No.
Isn't that terrifying?
It's horrifying at the deepest level in my soul because I have a 13-year-old girl.
Right. And she's right about the age of where, yeah, I mean, disgusting.
And although she is grown up in a lot of ways, she is a baby in a lot of ways. And
yeah. And I've got a 7-year-old girl. So she's not too far away from being targeted by these people. Some people are sick enough they target her now. And I'm telling you, as a father,
yeah.
If I was ever to commit murder, somebody hurting my daughter, that would be the reason.
Yeah, without question. And also, I think, can we also both agree that we disagree vehemently with Megyn Kelly that it's no better to like 13-year-old girls than 7-year-old girls, and that the age of consent is 18?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. We were in agreement on that.
100%. The only exception to that is I would not punish a 14-year-old with a 13-year-old. I would punish a 14-year-old with a 7-year-old.
100%. No, fair enough. And I think that honestly, that's, that I feel like was something that a lot of people, I mean, when Megyn Kelly was like, well, I mean, he was into 13, 14-year-olds. He wasn't like into 7-year-olds.
No, if you are an adult, and you are into 13s or 17s, I don't care. You're disgusting and you should be put away from life.
On every level.
Stay away from my kids. Stay away from all kids. If I see you around anyone's kid, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Of course. Absolutely. As should happen.
Yeah. Because we got to protect each other's kids too, because they're freaking 100%. Psychos out there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, we are in total agreement. And what Megyn Kelly said was disgusting. I don't know why she would say that. I don't know what happened.
She has a teenage daughter.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in her head where she would say something like that. Maybe she had an aneurysm or something.
It's possible. Mild stroke.
And
who brought it to my attention was my 13-year-old daughter. I did not know she had said that. And she goes, Mom, look at this.
Yeah.
And
I remember speaking against that too. I was very clear about that as well. It's absolutely disgusting. Well, I mean, there isn't a whole lot of disagreement right now on the Epstein file, so it's not as juicy as I thought it was going to be. We just want to punish them all.
We want to punish them all. That's the thing, is I feel like the far right argument is, well, what if one of your guys is in there? Great. I'm like, I don't care.
If one of my guys is in there, thank you for letting me know.
Exactly.
We should take care of it.
I want to know who the disgusting pedophiles are in my party. I don't care if Biden's in that file. Drag his cancer-riddled ass into prison and make him fucking die there. Sorry. Try
Yeah.
not to swear.
No.
But make him die there. I don't care who is in there. They harmed children.
Mhm.
Watch. Could only watch like the.
Yep. You're breaking up again. But to your point right now, yeah, they harm children. I don't care who you are. You're out. You're done.
I back. Got a little. I think that where I get very frustrated is that, well, a couple reasons. One, Pam Bondi should be in contempt of court. She has been
I'm almost there
instructed.
with you. I'm about to agree with you. Yeah.
Then the way in which the law was passed was that the documents were to be released. If there were redactions, they needed to have an explanation.
100% agree.
They put out black pages of paper. That's not
That's not a release.
No. Third of all, what they released in the last couple of days, of the 32 victims that they listed, one was redacted. Everyone else's names were out there. Names, faces, date of birth. That is absolutely abhorrent. Why is this? We are letting these victims get victimized yet again. Women who have chosen to remain Jane Does. And we are putting their names and faces out for the world to see. That is disgusting.
Yep.
So
No,
you're
they should have done a better job. So they redact the stuff they don't want you to see, but they forget to protect the one reason of redactions that I supported was like, okay, yeah, let's protect the victims.
Every one of them.
And also, we don't need to see everyone's social security number. Those redactions I can accept. But that's not what was redacted. I think that our government is currently protecting somebody, and both parties seem to think that person needed to be protected. I don't know who it is.
And when you look at the number of times, so far from the numbers and going through documents, I have seen that Bill Clinton's name's been mentioned in there like 500 times. The guy's guilty. He for sure is guilty. Bill Gates, I wanted to think that guy was a great, awesome philanthropist. You know what? Gross. He's obviously not. There are people in there for sure.
Yeah, and just the names being mentioned doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty of anything. What matters is, do we have photos of you there? Do we have photos of you with these young girls? And both of them, the answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's proof to me.
But the other thing that I think that a lot of us are very frustrated about is that Trump's name is in there so far 3,000 times. Mm-hmm. There are pictures of him with Epstein. There are girls that are saying that they were handed off to him, brought to meet him. Why is there such a blind spot on the right to hold this guy to account?
Well, first, I haven't seen anything that proves that he is guilty of anything. And the reason that it is important, the reason he gets probably a little bit more leeway than anyone else is because he's currently the sitting president. And if you're wrong, let's say we did hold this guy to account. We find out he didn't do anything.
Oh, we both know, Richard. The guy's disgusting. He went into the dressing rooms of his pageants. He said he would date his daughter if she wasn't his. He said you can grab girls by the whatever you'd like when you're a star because you just get to do it. He's attracted to women so much that he just starts kissing them. Consent isn't in this guy's vocabulary, and he likes young girls.
Well, I will admit that many of the things that he's been caught saying are absolutely disgusting. But if there was a hidden microphone on me every day of my life, and I had to account for every stupid thing I've ever said, I would be embarrassed. I'm sure I would be embarrassed.
I would be embarrassed probably. But you know what? I know that I could put a mic on Ryan for 365 days and there would never be something that was so against consent and disgusting and just locker room talk, I can guarantee you beyond a shadow of a doubt we would never hear it.
Yeah,
Men
no,
who respect women do not say things like that.
but I will tell you, men do talk about women.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't. And I'm not saying that
No.
Ryan's mouth would be perfect. I am saying that there is nothing that would come out of his mouth that would say anything that would be vile, going against any sort of consent, that it's okay just to grab women whenever you want. There's not, Ryan's a tree guy, right? He works with tree guys.
Mm-hmm.
They are very just, who I am is who you get. But they are the most respectable men I would trust around any human I know, because they would never, ever say something that would be, I can just do this to a woman and she'll let me. It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, we're in agreement there. A lot of the things that he said are awful, but that was all public knowledge and he got elected again.
I know, which shows me that his base, his far right, his MAGA, right? The extremists. There's nothing he could do. There could be a picture of him making out with a child in those photos, and they would go, "Well, that was the past."
No.
Oh,
I'll tell you what. If that happens, you will see me immediately calling for his removal.
But you are not an extremist, Richard. You're not.
Well, no.
The extremists will say it's AI. It was computer generated. He would never.
That has to be. Obviously, they have to prove that it's not an AI. It has to be a real image, obviously. But sure. Yes.
But if you're telling me, what if they came out with Bill Clinton with a picture of him making out with some 13-year-old girl? Do you think they'd want to make sure that image was verified?
No. People are partial as heck. The selective outrage is a real thing. But I will also say on the other side, many times Democrats have believed things that are just not true because they want to believe them against Republicans, and Republicans have believed things about Democrats. Like, they were saying that Obama was a Muslim socialist that was going to, make us a communist Muslim country.
Oh, and you know what, Richard? That when I was still hardcore. It wasn't until Obama's second term that I started thinking maybe there's something not. But
and you were misled. But what you will find out is both sides do it to excess. They just make
and I'm not saying that they don't. What I'm saying is that we need to do better at making sure that we are not spreading misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
That we are not, because so many things that I have. This is a gotcha moment. I'm going to post this and win my. Let me just triple check that. No, completely fake. Totally AI, whatever. So that is the problem I have is I wouldn't ask for Trump's image to be certified as not AI or not computer documented. The same as I wouldn't ask for Clinton, Bill Gates, any of those people. You come up with images and show me that, and their names are in the files. Yeah, I'm sure for a criminal case, you got to prove it.
Right.
But for me, you don't. If they had an image of Obama, then yes, maybe I'd be like, oh, that feels a little outside the realm. His name's not in the files anywhere. There's no proof of anything. He's the most respectable guy. But when it comes to the people whose names are in the file, they're absolutely, they're dirtbags. They've proven it. Then let's, you're not going to have to prove a lot to me. But I think that one of my biggest frustrations is the willingness, and I'm not saying both parties don't do it, and both are guilty. If you're just going to watch CNN or Fox News and those are your Bibles, then you're not trying to find the truth.
No, you're trying to hear what you want to hear.
You want
and a lot of people find comfort in their echo chamber. And that's where a lot of people are. It is very hard. One of the hardest things for me to do, because I used to be very far right. I when Bush was president right after 9/11, he could have convinced me to do anything. It's scary. I would have done anything he said. wipe out this entire town. Sure, Bush said it. There must be a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how in lockstep with George W. Bush I was.
Well, and I mean, I didn't really start voting till way longer than I would like to admit, but I was for sure. I was in Bush's camp, Bush senior and junior. I was,
And of course I was furious after 9/11. I just wanted somebody to pay for it. But coming out of my echo chamber and listening to the other side was very hard to do.
It is.
And it feels off because at first when you start getting hit with these ideas that you don't automatically have a predilection to, it's like getting a vaccine. It's getting a vaccine shot. It hurts at first. And you're just like, oh man, this is not okay. But then eventually you start to get to know the people.
Exactly.
And now I feel a lot happier. I am so much happier.
When you start finding the truth for yourself, that's the thing, is that I was spoon-fed a narrative for so long, and I lived in perpetual fear because of the narrative I was being spoon-fed. I didn't know how to find out if any of it was true. I was just being spoon-fed this narrative, and I believed it hook, line, and sinker. And I think that that's what I really just wish, and where I get the most pushback in talking with anybody on the far right is, I will say what I feel like I have really done my due diligence to try to find truthful data, facts, information. CNN, MSNBC, independent journalists, they're just my launching point. It's how I find out maybe there's something going on in the world. But then I want to find, let's break this down. And we got to be critical thinkers. We got to think about, well, what about this? What about this from this side? Tell me about it from this side. And I really try to come up with as factually accurate information as I can. And when I present that, my comment back from people on the right is very just, you're delusional, you're an idiot, take your blinders off.
And don't forget the laughing emoji. There's always going to be the laughing emoji on your Facebook thing.
Don't even get me started on that laughing emoji.
They need to get rid of the laughing emoji.
It just needs to go away. It makes me so angry.
Because the laughing emoji just basically says everything you said is stupid and F you. That's what
exactly.
It means.
But I don't have an argument to prove you wrong, so I'm just going to laugh about it. Yep. And that's the thing is that, and when I ask for, okay, I'm wrong. I will admit that I'm wrong. Tell me factually why. And then I just get you're not worth my time, or, you're stupid.
Because they don't know how to do that. They don't know how to go in and search and argue their point. And that's a weakness in America, because we used to be able to do research.
We used to.
People don't.
And you know what? We did research using the Encyclopedia Britannica. Now we have the entire world's knowledge.
Everything right at your fingertips. Just type in a couple of things and hit enter. I did not mean to swear. I mean,
no, I'm trying really hard myself. But it makes, and that's, so when I look at things like Epstein, and I look hard to find facts, right? I think Trump's a dirtbag, but I think a lot of people are dirtbags. So I'm not trying to just be like, oh, look at that, or take any piece of information that says he could be in there and just run with it. Because you're right, it's a serious allegation. And I've always said too, because I have a mom who really likes to accuse other men of sexually inappropriate behavior, and it's always false. And so I'm very, very sensitive to that, because you can accuse someone of a sexual crime, and the only people that know it are the two people involved, usually, unless you're part of a huge scandal. So it's a very easy one to accuse somebody of. And it always puts a question in someone's head as to whether or not it's true.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, that is, if a woman wants to destroy a man, that's all you need to do. You don't need to prove it. In fact, he can even prove it's probably not true, and you've probably ruined his life still.
And you know what? He could prove he was in another state, and you know what? There would still be a question in everybody's mind, because those are crimes that are very, and they're life ruining. And Presley and her friends have a joke about a teacher at school, and I won't go into it because it's ridiculous. But I said, I go, those aren't types of jokes you can have about people these days, because you will ruin someone's life over someone just wanting to make fun of somebody else. You will ruin that. These are serious things we talk about. So when I talk about Epstein, I absolutely feel that we need to look at facts. So I am not ever just trying to take a narrative and run with it. Did I like Clinton? Sure. But you know what? He's in the files. Send him to prison. Did I like Bill Gates? Great. He's in the files. If he's convicted, send him to all of them. Hang them by their toes. I don't care. They hurt women. If it's proven. So when I
not just women, they hurt children. Which, I mean, hurting women is bad too, but children.
No, I get it. You're right. Yeah. That is a very distinct definition. They hurt children, and they exploited children, and they took lives from these children. And when you watch the documentary and you see some of them talk, they are dead behind their eyes. They never got that life back. And so when I see through this administration, I'm going to release the Epstein files. They're on Pam's desk. We're going to be reviewing them. Kash Patel's podcast was just all about, we're going to get those out. They need to be out. 2, this is a Democratic hoax. There's no list. It's all made up.
Isn't that wild? Because I believe that he truly did want it released. And then something happened to where he's either afraid or he saw something. It makes me wonder what the heck is in there, because it's more than just somebody's name. There is either a nation that's going to be humiliated or something. Like, is there a Saudi prince in there? Is there a Saudi
there probably
king?
Is. But you know what? Trump also really likes to tell people what they want to hear to get him what he wants. And then he hopes it's just going to go away. I don't think he thought. I mean, the biggest argument I hear is, well, why did Democrats not? Why did they not? They were not able to. They were active court cases at that time. They could not release sealed information. They can override it, but it's not a typical practice. The courts would have to do something special. Now, Maxwell's case is settled. The appeals are mostly exhausted. The time to release it all is now. And so he ran on it.
But you can say in the last year of Biden, they could have released it. And I'll tell you, the reason that I have a suspicion that maybe Trump proof that he's guilty of something isn't in there is because if there was something in there to protect our nation, I think Biden and Kamala would have released it. They would have had an obligation to.
I don't know that, I mean, first of all, in the words of my very favorite Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett, they didn't campaign on it. They didn't promise the world they were going to put it out there. Trump did.
No, I agree, but they should have.
Fair. We shoulda, woulda, coulda all day long. Absolutely. Maybe Biden was asleep and he forgot about it. I mean, maybe he, who knows? Any number of things. But and in the last year of his presidency, he wasn't exactly killing it. And I think there was bigger fish to fry, and he was trying to get reelected, and there was a lot of things. I'm not saying he shouldn't have. I'm saying this should have been front page news the second anybody could have put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, the last year of Biden's presidency was just odd. I mean, he stepped down. There was no primary for the Democrats, and all of a sudden Kamala's the nominee with no input from the voters. It was wild.
Which I think, honestly, I don't know. I think a lot of us would have, a lot of us, I think, would have been that would have been our pick. I mean, I know she would have been mine. But yes, the last year of Biden's presidency was rough. Now, if you look back in history, he's not the very first president that has had horrible medical issues that have been hidden from the nation, whose the wives or chiefs of staffs or whatever have kind of run that presidency for them.
Nope. That happened to Reagan too. Reagan too.
I think his dementia started back then, and I want to say FDR. There's a few others that just had illnesses.
Yeah, FDR was literally on death's door. And he actually did die as president. Yeah,
likely, kind of ran behind the scenes. And again, it's done, I know, for a variety of reasons. One is we can't look weak. We can't look weak to our other nations that we have a guy that's just like drooling on himself. So we have to try to put up a protective front. But for people to act like Biden's the first one that this ever happened with blows my mind, because I'm like, you guys, come on, it's happened many times. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying
I would say the biggest critique that was different for Biden that was different from Reagan and Roosevelt. Roosevelt, well, he died in office, so that didn't really come up. Reagan was on his last term. He was not running again. Biden was running again, and then gets up in front of the nation and debates Trump, and everyone's just like, I mean, I remember feeling uncomfortable during that debate. And
No.
I was just like, why would they let him do this?
Well, exactly.
Why would they let him do this?
People, and it's probably why we're in this position that we're in now. If they would have come out with a new candidate right out the gate, that would have been decided, and we may have avoided this horror show. But and I know we disagree on that. It's a horror show. That was
yeah. I mean, I don't think America's a horror show yet. I think people have overreacted in some things. I think that America will recover. America always does.
Yeah.
We are not on death's door. We're going to be okay. And that's the message that I want to put out.
So the only reason I believe it is because you keep telling me.
Well, and I will. And I promise you, if I think, oh my God, we're doomed, I will tell you that too.
You better.
I will.
Because I got a friend in Canada that's ready to take me in.
Well, I don't. Dang.
Actually, I have a client.
Guess I'm stuck here. Guess I'm going down with the ship.
I have a client in Portugal that said he would sponsor me to couple out. So you better let me know.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and I will. I promise. Now, since we just finished with the Epstein files, let's jump right into Washington State and 4 senators that we have on the Democrat side who better not ever mention anything about the Epstein files.
No.
They have pushed SB 5312. So everybody can look up WASB 5312. And it is an attempt to make it so people who try to pick up minors and accidentally, instead of talking to a minor, are talking to an agent who's trying to keep minors safe and arrest them, they should be punished less. So the 4 senators, Tawina Nobles, Claire Wilson, Lisa Wellman, Noel Frame, all 4 of them are women. What is up with you? Have decided that the most important issue right now is that we are too mean to pedophiles. They want to make it, if you get caught in a sting like that, your punishment go from 10 years to 5 years. I don't think we have a problem in Washington State of being too mean to pedophiles. I don't.
I don't think we have a problem in America for being too mean to pedophiles.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, this is one you and I will agree with lockstep on this one. That is when you told me to look up the bill, and I was like, great, something I'm going to be wildly against, and I got to figure out, I'd never heard of it. I hadn't heard of it yet. I'd probably been diving into something else. And so I sat down, I grabbed my notebook, and I opened it up, and I went, oh, nope, we're going to agree on this one.
Yeah.
The deeper I dug, the more angry I got, and the more sick to my stomach I got. There is no such thing as us being too hard on pedophiles. There just isn't. Nope. And you know what? I know I mentioned this to you a little bit before the show, but back in our day, we had to catch a predator, and Chris Hansen, and he, they lured people in, and of the people they lured, they got like 2 convictions because they weren't actual agents. They weren't actual. There wasn't like the letter of the law followed.
Yeah, and 2 convictions and 1 suicide, and the suicide shut them down.
The suicide did. And the people were like, and that's when we thought, man, maybe we're just being too harsh on these people. They think they're talking to children.
Yeah, no, they are there to assault a child.
A child. The girl comes to the door. I mean, they filmed the initial interaction, which is enough to make anyone vomit.
Yeah.
And then they think that I don't care if you're talking to my 85, well, she's dead now, but my 94-year-old grandma, and you think she's a kid and you want to meet up with her, you should go down. That means you will harm a child given the opportunity.
Yes. You are a threat.
Yes. And there is, you want to go far extreme, and I know everything can be taken to the far extreme, right? And the far extremists are like, well, it's a mental illness. Fine. Let's, for absolute devil's advocate, like the deepest parts of hell's advocate, say it's a mental illness. You know what? Back in our day, when somebody had a mental illness, and I don't agree with it, except for in this scenario, you built an institution and you sent them there. And they lived in a locked institution from the day they got there till the day that they died. And you know what? If that's the point you want to argue with me, lock them up. Our children are in danger. So,
well, I think you'd agree with me that most serial killers, people who enjoy murdering people just for the fun of it, they probably have a mental illness.
Oh, for sure.
They need to be punished and they need to be stopped because they're a threat.
Exactly. And most of them get the death penalty.
It's exactly the same thing. With maybe slightly less of a punishment because you haven't murdered anyone.
Right. So, and I mean, if they caught Dahmer by meeting him in a bar and it was an undercover sting and they went back to his house and they didn't chop him up, is it any less? I mean, he still had the intent to do so.
Yeah.
Like, if you have the intent to go and assault a child, you no longer get to live in society.
Yeah. And think of it this way. Imagine if I won't say I don't want to get arrested, but imagine if somebody grabs a weapon and his intent is to kill a whole bunch of innocent civilians. And he walks into a diner getting ready to spray everyone. And in that diner, he sees an entire SWAT team eating lunch and they put their lasers on him. And he's like, you know what? Not going to do it. Did the intent go away? No, it didn't. He just had bad luck.
Exactly. And there are a lot of crimes, or there's a lot of criminals that I do feel can be rehabilitated. It sounds corny and nuanced and probably stupid, but I completely changed my tune about the death penalty after reading John Grisham's The Chamber. And I don't know if you've ever read it.
I've heard about it.
It really just took me a second, because I was like, I mean, here's this guy who was a young kid who had a starving baby at home, who went to a convenience store to rob them. The guy had a gun. He shoots him. He kills him. He ends up in prison, right? He's got the death penalty. Now he's 60 or however long it's taken for all of these appeals to go through. He's a different guy. He's like, I never meant to cause harm. I just want to feed my baby. Like, yes, I did something wrong. I think I've paid my debt. I would never do it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to kill this guy. But, and there's a lot of eye for eye people out there, which is funny because they're also very pro-life. But it just changed my mind on a more of a case-by-case death penalty basis. And there are a lot of people that I think do things and they can be rehabilitated. I believe to my soul that if your issue or crime is any type of sexual perversion, you cannot be rehabilitated.
If it's something crazy, I mean, it can't be. Like, I mean, if you were at a bar and you got a little bit too fresh and slapped someone on the butt, I think maybe you can be.
Fair. I mean, like, I even mean like frat boy, you drank too much, but you sexually assaulted a woman behind a dumpster. I think if you're capable of doing it once, you're capable of doing it again.
No, that's
But yeah,
that's
I mean,
terrible.
if you slap somebody on the butt because you're too drunk, yes, you should be in trouble. You don't do that. Doesn't matter that you're intoxicated, but no, you don't need to die. But I'm talking about like you took something from someone they can never get back in a sexual, like the deepest, most like trusting, like the most, I don't know why, like the most sacred thing somebody has, you took that without their permission. I think that's just who you are.
Yeah, no, if that's in you, it's in you.
And especially if it's a child.
Yeah. And that, what use are you to society?
Exactly.
What do we get by keeping you alive?
We get nothing.
Honestly.
I mean, and at minimum, medical castration across the board.
Yeah, okay, I could go with that. I'd go for that.
Like,
so you know what? Here's what I would do. in the scenario where I think we need to up the punishments for everyone, not lessen them.
Of
But
course.
in the scenario where you were caught in a trap, you didn't actually do it. Okay, you don't need to die, but we are going to castrate you.
We're going to castrate you medically.
Yep. If you did do it,
then you die.
now you die. Just kind of like with murder and attempted murder. You didn't kill anyone, but you tried. So you're getting punished, but
Yes.
they're not dead, so we can't kill you.
Exactly.
So I could go with that, but
Yeah.
10 years isn't long enough anyway.
No.
I couldn't believe it. Wait, we're only giving them 10 years, and now we want to give them 5?
No, that's disgusting and embarrassing. And then again, I will call my party out when my party is wrong. This is gross.
Well, I don't think it's your whole party. I think it's 4 senators that need to be spoken to. And I looked into some of them. 2 of them aren't crazy, usually. I don't know what they were thinking here. And then 2 of them are crazy.
Okay.
So,
and we have them. I mean, we have them, and I mean, I'll give you that. Our party's got a chunk of them.
But this bill has to die, and I want it to die
absolutely.
hard.
I would vote no for it 10 times. I'll tell everybody I know we vote no on this, and that's the thing is that, again with this, and this isn't a case of where you're accused of something, but only you and the victim know about it. This is, you're accused of something because you showed up or you got caught by somebody pretending to be a kid. We know
the evidence is overwhelming because they're very good at making sure they collect it.
Exactly. Like, you're sick. No.
So
we agree.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Across the board on this one. There is no question. It needs to die. It's disgusting. The 4 members of the Democratic Party that think it's okay should have a firm slap across the face.
Yeah. So I think Republicans that support Trump, Democrats that hate him, we can all come together and agree. SB 5312 is stupid.
It is.
Please tell everyone to vote against it because they are putting children in danger.
Stupid. It's downright disgusting.
It's disgusting.
So, no. Yeah, there's one thing we can agree on countrywide, I hope. And if you think this is a good bill, I don't think that we should be friends.
No.
Because, this is, no. If we can't come together on this, then you are farther gone than I ever want to be around in my life.
Yeah, and what I don't understand is why these senators sat around with all the problems Washington State has, because we got problems. And the big problem that they felt they needed to put a law on was, gosh, we're so mean to pedophiles here. Let's cut their sentence in half.
I can't. I literally have just been all day stewing about this because I am so frustrated with so many things. My pantry gets cleaned out every 3 days. It is, I mean, we have donations coming in left and right. Every 3 to 4 days, those shelves are bare. People are starving. We get notes left all the time. I didn't know what I was going to do. You're keeping my family supported. I thought I wanted to end it all. I came today. And I mean, people are so desperate for basic human things like food and shelter. And I mean, we have fentanyl on our streets and we have so many bigger fish to fry. Can we just keep being mean to pedophiles?
Yeah.
And in fact, if we want to put a bill on the table, let's just put one on that makes us meaner.
Yeah. Well, we'll all feel better, right? I mean, no matter what's going on in your life, everybody likes to see pedophiles get their lives ruined.
You want to up our morale? Let's see a bill on the table that makes us 10 times meaner to pedophiles.
And you know what? It's something that people can let their hate outlets out. Like let's make a hate group against pedophiles.
Love it.
Let's all unite and just agree that we're going to pick on them.
Yeah, dox them. I mean, seriously, like, and I love Kameno because I think we have 3, and it's like only one guy liked kids, but
yeah, and he lives on Graham.
Okay, yeah, no. When I look up the map,
I know where they are.
when I look up, say Marysville, it's like a red, or Everett, or
Everett is a nightmare.
There's just like a red canopy. So I do feel good that I don't love that there's 3, but I feel safer that there's only 3. There should be 0 in every single city.
Yeah.
None.
And I think that we need to have something more needs to be done if they like kids. Like, I agree with you being there if you're something with an adult woman or, your ex-wife or something. But
Yeah.
if you are after kids, I want an alert of where you are right now.
Why are they
Where
not
is he
wearing
right
ankle
now?
monitors?
Yep. That everyone can see.
Absolutely. I want to know if I'm in
And
the
I
grocery
want
store.
that thing to go off if he gets within 500 feet of a school,
Mhm.
so that everyone
Or
knows, hey, beat this guy up right now.
absolutely. Or I want to know if you're next to me when my daughter's in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. I mean, so no, there is no instance in any version of my existence that thinks that we are too heavy on pedophiles.
Yeah. And 10 years is not that. I think it's ridiculous. You try to assault a child in the worst way imaginable, other than murder,
Mhm.
and you are given 10 years, and
We
we
have
want to
people
make
in
it
prison.
5.
We have people in prison for way longer than that for possession of marijuana.
Which is insane.
Or that's
Which is insane.
so our priorities are a little backwards.
I don't understand it. I don't understand
Well,
it. So please, everyone, tell your senators and your House members, just in case, God forbid, this somehow sneaks through, to vote against SB 5312. Let's make this bill die, and right now.
yeah.
I don't even want to see it on the floor.
And I think that the reason that you and I can continue to be friends is that you don't understand it. Because if you came on here today and was like, well, Tiffany, have you considered this? That would be the end of this entire event.
And I can do that for, the strategic use of Greenland. We can have that discussion.
Right? Absolutely.
This is just insane.
It's insane. It's gross. No, it's disgusting. Across the board, you have no pushback for me on this. I think that we should just, it has to die. This can't happen.
No. And I want all 4 senators to come up and tell us what they were thinking.
Uh-huh.
What
Why do you
went on in your head that made you think that this needed to happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
then make their names very well known so that when it comes time for election, we don't reelect you.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let me do that right now. So, Senator Claire Wilson, Democrat, District 30, is one. Her name is Twina Nobles, Democrat, District 28. Senator Lisa Wellman, Democrat, District 41. All women. I can't believe it. I mean, it's all women.
Wow.
And women just generally know better. Usually when I see something that's hellaciously stupid like this, it's a bunch of dudes. And Noelle Frame.
Yeah. And who?
Noelle Frame. She's District 36. So Democrats, please, those are heavily blue areas, so a Republican's not going to get in, but Democrats, please primary them.
Yeah.
Please primary them.
We don't need this kind of ridiculousness in our state or anybody's state, but.
Okay, and then finally, the last thing we're going to cover is the local thing, the school levy. Have you voted on it yet?
I did. I did a firm yes. Dark black. All is as deep colored as I could get it.
Yep. I also voted yes. So what? I'll let you go ahead and go into what it is that it's about and why it's important that we pass this one.
For Stanwood Middle, because my daughter goes to Stanwood Middle, and they're not outlandish. It's windows, it's floors, it's vents, it's things. I understand that there is no guarantee that every bit of money that's supposed to go to this is going to go to this. It's everybody's counter argument. I hear it on every page. There's no accountability for spending. There's no accountability for spending.
And that is a fair argument, but
I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
There should be more accountability. How come the superintendent and all of these other people are making 6 figures? Why can't we shake some of that money down and bring that to the my dog's bark. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. I actually don't have a problem with the superintendent making 6 figures. And let me tell you why. If you were a CEO of a company of that many people underneath you, how much do you think you'd be making? Millions.
At least. Oh, yeah. No, you'd be making millions. And I will always be on the side of the people in charge of educating our children. I will vote for raises for them until they make what Bill Gates makes, because it is not my calling. I that is, I mean, you gave me 3 months with my one child when COVID shut down, and I learned very quickly that teaching is not my calling, with my one
Right.
child.
Yeah.
So, and so I don't have a problem with their salaries either, but that is something that's like, well, can't they shake that down? Why aren't they shaking that down? And I can see both points. People that are saying, hey, I don't even have a kid. Why are my property taxes going up? And I could see that. I would be fine if the people who have children in schools are the ones that take the majority of the brunt. I'd be fine with that as well. But none of that is on the table. What we have on the table is a yes or a no for funding for schools that do not run without our funding. So when we have a yes or a no guarantees no money goes anywhere.
Right.
No new windows go in, not a single improvement on the floors, not a single improvement. When Presley was at Elger Bay, they needed new fire systems. Everybody voted no on the levy. So by voting no, they did not get to upgrade something like a fire system. If you vote yes, maybe not every cent goes exactly where you wish that it would. And maybe these teacher salaries or these superintendent salaries or whatever are higher than you'd like. But there's at least a chance for money to go somewhere. And that's why I voted yes.
And if you want the money to go where it's supposed to go, hold your school board's feet to the fire, because they do answer to you and sort of push it. Yes, I voted yes. So to recap, we covered several issues, and I think we did a good job. We went through some intense issues, and we got through it without a fight, because that's how America needs to start being, guys. It can be done.
It can.
And we actually came to a conclusion. I should have more training. Let's go back to the old training quotas of several months of training instead of just quick 47 days or however long it was.
47, in honor of the 47th president.
Well, there you go. And we agree that we do need ISO. We should not abolish it. We do need some immigration, customs, and enforcement. We agree that we do have a strategic reason to go into to have a stake in Greenland, but we don't need to own it. So we found agreement there. And with the Epstein files, release them all and punish the guilty.
Yep.
And SB 5312 sucks. It needs to go away.
Absolutely.
And vote yes on the school levy.
Look at that.
We did it. You see, when you talk to people who don't always agree with you, you can find common ground.
Yes, you can. Not a single name was called.
Not one. So anyway, it's always super fun doing this with you. I think we should do it again.
I would be happy to.
And we'll invite all our friends. And now that we've seen that we can do it and it's smooth, I think we should do this every time, a major issue comes up that people just can't talk to each other about. Maybe we should try and figure out a way to smooth it out.
I think that there is endless issues.
There is. And I bet you there'll be a new one tomorrow.
There probably will.
All right. Well, great talking to you. And wow, it didn't even feel like an hour and 48 minutes, but it's been an hour and 48 minutes.
I know. We'll have a great night. And we'll do this again.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you all for showing up. And you can also show your friends. It'll be a recording and they can see it on the YouTube page and on Facebook. All righty. Talk to you all later.